See, Patrick Beverley was making his play for his next career, dog. And I think he made a successful play because he had social media buzzing after all his comments. America, if you didn't see it, Minnesota Timberwolves point guard Patrick Beverley went on ESPN. You'd be hard pressed to find a show that he wasn't on. Seemed like for hours he was just on that straight. If it was basketball related, they were asking Pat. And then double back the next day, right? And
he did 2 or 3 days on there, man.
I thought he might have done 3 days. Yeah. But he really set it off with his attacks on Chris Paul. Basically, sum it up, he calling out the media for what he perceives as the media not going at Chris Paul for the flame out that was that previous series with the Mavs, as compared to how they critique other superstars. He came for one of the things that makes people like me really respect Chris Paul, the defensive side of the ball. Patrick Beverley says, I guess I don't know the game either, and whoever thinks he can play thinks he can play defense don't know the game, because he called him a cone.
Cone.
He's just a cone. In America, as somebody who's a coach, yeah, I got cones out there now. You know, America, you sit them cones out. Them cones ain't gonna do nothing. They just markers. We use the cones as just markers. And you even tell your players, hey, you gotta do it better than that. Hey, I need you to elevate a little more than that. Ain't gonna be no cone in the game. Gonna be somebody closing out. You got a 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" kid. Go.
Yeah.
Pat Bev said, ain't no difference between the cone and first ballot Hall of Famer, CP3.
Man, tough.
That was just one of the many things, okay? Other NBA players fired back, some via the media, some via traditional media, like Matt Barnes, I think, went on ESPN Airwaves himself.
Yeah, it was that day, I think, on the Jump, maybe. Yeah. He talked about.
So he went right at him on that.
Yeah.
I think Dame came at him via tweet. I think Danny Green came at Patrick Beverley via a podcast. So a lot of smoke was created by Pat Bell being on ESPN. I think he might have secured the bag, but a lot of smoke was secured as well. T, what was your takeaway from Patrick Beverley versus the world?
I mean, I guess, you know what I really like to know?
What's that?
I'd really like to know, like, how this got started.
The beef between him and CP.
Well, no. Who over there at ESPN picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Pat, we'd love to get your perspective."
Is this his first time we've seen him in that space?
I don't recall ever seeing him, and he may have been, and he may have been. And again, if I missed it, forgive me, but this is the first time I've seen him on my airwaves, right and early on my favorite show, Get Up. So,
I know that night before, he was saying stuff on Twitter that was provocative. He was saying stuff like, watch somebody come with a fake injury after this. And then, so that tweet went dumb.
And then CP3 says, the hamstring and all that.
Yeah.
And maybe he knows more.
But so you think ESPN saw that kind of buzz and were like,
I think they know what they can get from guys like that. They know what they're getting right now from Perk. And they may just wanted a guy on a more diminutive level, so to speak. You know, somebody that and to be told, Pat Beverley's story, Pat Beverley and how he came to the NBA, his story is nothing but about grind. If you don't know the Pat Beverley story, the brother had to Like Mace used to say, I've been around the world. Mason Diddy, that was Pat. He had to travel to get back to the league. And he's had a very good career in terms of just being a good defender, a solid guard. He ain't your typical point guard, in my opinion. I don't see him like I don't go, ooh, Pat Bev got them handles. I don't do that. But he's serviceable enough to where, he's like an irritant on the floor, and you need that. Teams need that. Teams need that guy. But I think he was out of pocket for the Chris Paul comments, truthfully. But I if I said that to Pat Beverley, he wouldn't care because obviously Pat Bev thinks what Pat Beverley thinks, and he's a different thinker. He has some very good views. He has some very good vantage points because he's in the league. I think what he's got with Chris Paul is deep. It's personal. It's personal. It could have been simply something that Pat Bev wanted to be on the NBPA docket when they were restructuring their deal with the league, players union type stuff. It could be smoke there. We don't know.
Didn't he say something like at some camp they got into it back in the Gap?
And I missed that.
I think it was something like that.
It's and again, Pat Beverley. When I think about Pat Beverley, I think about the guy that played with the Clippers, that gave the Warriors all the trouble. Pat Beverley cannot play at a big market team. That's not his vein. His lane is small market, underdog, underappreciated. Those teams, if Pat Beverley's on that team, he does something for that team. Pat Bev can't be a Warrior. Even though he speaks glowingly about the Warriors, and he did that a lot on the show.
Yes, he did.
He spoke glowingly about the Warriors, which surprised me because I'm sitting there going, hey, Pat, you was giving these guys all the fits you wanted years ago when you was a Clipper. So where's all this Steph love and I thought you and maybe he just respects him. Maybe he just respects him for whatever reason. But I was kind of taken aback by that because I'm thinking to myself, well, if he got smoked with CP3, he gonna say something about Steph. It ain't got to be disrespectful, but it was gonna be something slick like he not like that.
But it seemed like the culture puts them against each other. Like if you like one, you don't like the other one almost.
I guess so. It was great TV. It was great TV. And it shot an arm in ESPN this past week because he just was like, he was raw. He was raw, uncut. He was very, very and he was entertaining. I mean, he was very entertaining. And it didn't take long for guys to respond, like Matt and like Dame and like Danny. Matt's response was on the network that afternoon. He didn't waste no time. But I don't think Pat's going to change his point of view. Pat's standing by this. Mm-hmm. And he's telling me that there's guys in the league that know. He said basically everybody wanted the Suns. And he said we wanted the Suns, talking about his Timberwolves. We wanted the Suns. And that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So
who do you think has the brighter future in this media game? Patrick Beverley or Draymond? After this performance by Pat.
Do you really think I'm gonna sit here and disrespect Draymond Green on this podcast? Why would we even do that? Draymond even said, he even spoke about the matter. Mm-hmm. He said, hey, Pat did a good job, but Pat might have harmed his chances of being on TV. Now again, unless somebody told Draymond like he got one of them Tom Brady deals waiting on him when he get out of there for about 10 mil or something.
Draymond already ain't he
I
acting
mean,
like
he's comfortable. He comfortable.
yeah.
Listen, he probably got a mic. His microphone don't stay out in the elements. His microphone comes out of a silk sleeve when he gets done. When he gets ready to do his podcast, he pulls it out of a silk sleeve and he gets ready to do his thing.
Right.
So, but again, he may have something in the works with TNT because Draymond actually has put the work in. I mean, he sat down with KD. You've seen, if you haven't seen that interview, he did a really great interview with KD about a lot of things. He's done TNT work. He's got his own pod. He's one of those personalities you kind of want to hear his point of view. And he just basically said about Pat Beverley that, hey, Pat, we want to hear your vantage point of the game. We want to hear your breakdown, your analysis. Nothing, don't be inflammatory. I think Draymond was like, I want to see the guy get the opportunity to do it, but I don't think that was the right approach, what he did the other day on Get Up. But Draymond's gonna be the guy. It really is. Draymond, I think, is gonna be the guy because he's really he's refining his skills right now. He's getting his skills together right now while he's playing actively. So I mean, Pat could be really good. I think Pat could be really good. I don't know if you can put Pat and Kendrick in the same room together. I don't think that's gonna work. I think you need one. You need one of the other. You don't need the same type vibe on TV. You just don't. But now I will say, Kendrick does have his picks and chooses. Like Kendrick loves LeBron, and he's gonna say a lot of glowing things about a lot of players. I don't think Pat likes anybody.
He seems to like Steph.
Well, I forgot. My bad, Steph. My bad. I don't know if he necessarily likes him. I think he respects him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he respects him. So
he like LeBron too. He said he'll go play with Bron. Well, if he wasn't under contract, he would like to come to my Lakers.
Do you want him?
No.
Okay, thank you. There it is. So Bron don't want him. If you don't want him, Bron don't want him.
Now, look, I like what he brings to the table, but it just for what we got going on, I need something different than that.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Gonna be real flat. Gonna be real.
I like what he does on the floor though. I like his energy, the feistiness. Maybe I do. Maybe I would take him.
Oh no, I'm finna put you on the spot.
That was knee jerk.
I'm finna put you on the spot.
Okay.
Put you on the spot. Here we go. You ready? All right. Now this is bubble championship Lakers. Because he even spoke about the bubble championship now. He even talked about that. He wanted to correct JJ Redick about the bubble championship. All right. Alex Caruso or Pat Bev. After that year, who you keep?
Give me Caruso.
Okay. Would you let's just say Rondo's contract's up after that championship? Pat's available. Who you keeping?
I'm about to go package because Rondo looking long in the tooth now.
I'm just talking about after the championship now. I'm just talking about off of what you got that year. Do I give Rondo?
Patrick Beverley brings up. He's a star in his role. He's a star in his role. I give him that. But he is an example of why it's good the players don't vote for these awards anymore. Because some of the stuff he's saying is so nonsensical because of the deep-seated smoke he got with CP3. Come on now. All right, 37-year-old CP3, no, he's not on all defensive, even second team.
Right.
But come on now. That man, the man that made, 9 all defensive teams in his career?
I believe it is.
Come on, man. Or now maybe Pat Beverley saying the media got it wrong 9 times. Okay, well, he should say that then. But come on, man. I watched the game. This man been a steals champ and Even at his size, he tries to guard the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially during his prime. So that let me know, like Pat Bev, and then so do you bring that kind of smoke into your analyst role? So now I don't really get the real about certain stuff. Like Shaq. Even when Dwight Howard was playing well, Shaq wouldn't let himself say nothing good about Dwight Howard because he had beef with him over the doggone Superman name. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy stuff. So, but of course, people don't even watch that show for the analysis. You watch that show for the crazy.
The
But
entertainment, yeah.
yeah, so
I just think Pat's gonna do more work with ESPN because they need players to do players. I think Pat Bear might have been slick more entertaining had he been on like I Am Athlete or something.
It would have been. He would have been too. He would have
perfect.
He would have been too unfit. See the thing, I think I saw him on Knuckleheads, and Knuckleheads, I don't get inflammatory.
No, they don't.
They talk your story. They love hoops. They want to know your story. They want to know what was your AAU journey like. Like what was your NBA draft workouts like? What was your first year? They want to know all that. Some of these other joints, I Am Athlete gonna bring that other up out of you.
Let it go.
And Shady McCoy on there. And so they start bringing up names of Shady McCoy. What he starts saying, easy work or easy something. I gave him crazy work. He started, because they started naming guys who he felt like that dude can do that. Pat Bev would go on there and say half the point guards in the league.
He would. He would. He'd be wrong. He'd be wrong because you just said Alex Caruso's coming back. Alex Caruso's coming back to my Lakers before Pat Bev gets signed.
Because Caruso gonna play good D for me. Caruso got some athletic. He's more athletic than Pat Bev seems to be, and I ain't finna get the antics. I ain't gonna get the antics. Now the antics would help drive Pat Bev to be great, but Caruso don't need all that to do what he needs to do in his role.
I think Pat just has to have the chip on his shoulder always. Like that's why I don't think Pat will be
where
good.
He coming from, I understand.
I think Pat will be good. Pat is good in places where there is no big major market, or like the Clippers where you're just the other team in the city. I think he needs those things to drive to fuel.
What about Houston? Houston.
I mean, at the time they were just
had James.
Yeah, okay.
Then they go to the conference finals.
Yeah. That was all well, fine and good. And then they shipped him out not too long after that, right? Like it didn't take long.
See that?
To ship him out, right?
He thinks highly of James. He say James should have many more MVP.
Did anybody tell him slow down?
I don't know. They seem like folks kind of pushed back on him this whole time, but
I mean, Pat for his career, Pat's never been a great shooter. He's shooting 41% for his career. He averages about 9 a night, 3.5 assists, 4 rebounds. I mean, he's a nuisance.
And talking cash money.
And that's great, but and look, Greeny was on there that first day, and Greeny was just like, this is liquid gold. This is TV gold. Like, he's like, man, we could talk about this for 3 or 4 hours, but I got to keep the show moving. Because maybe he just didn't get the full sense of what Pat Bev was going to say, but he was not. It didn't seem like Greeny was ready for anything Pat was going to say. But I do personally think Pat needed this opportunity to get a lot off his chest, and he got it off. So now my question is, what's Pat going to do going forward? Is Pat going to be more analytical about the game? Like the game tonight, as we tape, last night, he tried
to get more analytical.
And he did.
He toned down.
He did. And maybe that's just the way ESPN wanted them to do it. Just come in hot, get the world talking about it, and then let them come back and keep watching you. Day 2, day 3. I mean, you know, it's a formula to it. But before long, you might have the Big Perk and Bev Light podcast, because when he about to get his own beer, Bev Light, I think it was.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
there you go. It's marketing to it.
Well, America, I say put Pat Bell, Draymond, and Big Perk all together on the same show. Put Matt Barnes there with them too. Everybody, put them all there and let them hash it out for our viewing pleasure.
Let us facilitate that.
Oh yeah.
How about that?
Oh yeah, because I'm gonna throw the lives.
IG Entertainment. Let us relate. Let us handle that.
But America, chime in, tell us what y'all thought about Patrick Beverley's shots at CP3. Players like Dame, Matt Barnes, Danny Green coming back at him. And just his overall, your overall thoughts about his appearances on ESPN. Do y'all think he has a future in the game of the analyst world for real? Tell us what y'all think. Put it on something. My kids wanted me to tell y'all to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me across all social media platforms, like the videos, and share them. Did I forget anything?
And turn on the post notifications.
Y'all heard them. And also, visit Statement Tees, LLC.com, and shop with us. That's Statement Tees. Every t-shirt you wear
makes a statement.